Sachin, tell me, since you are a senior motion designer, let's say someone new is trying to understand this motion design and to learn it. What kind of process and mindset should one adopt when he is beginning to learn motion design? Any frameworks or any kind of thinking that will help him become better at it?
So, the way in which one could approach motion design or graphics while crafting an experience or even presenting a vision, one should, I feel, I mean, if I talk about myself, I would start understanding the purpose, the very purpose of the animation, and secondly is the audience to know who you are actually, communicating to, and also know the timelines.
Okay.
So, why do you need to know the purpose? Purpose is going to give you some clues of what approach you want to take, right? In visualizing the techniques while you're building the story.
Mhm.
The knowing the audience is going to help you define what complexity of how detailed you need to be in communicating. What age? Maybe they are doing it for children. Then you need to have a different approach in going into much simpler forms and much more detail. Or sometimes when you need to even addressing a different age group or a different geographical region, then you need to communicate in that style of communication. So you need to know these things, which will really help you to craft it much better, right?
Okay.
So, and also the timeline. When I say timeline, definitely you need to know the timeline so that you can set up your process and plan your whole methodologies quite in a systematic way. Things should not be like you know uh, you're not even frozen the storyboard and you're already starting production. Then you're going to mix it up and really make things really bad.
Mhm.
So it's always suggested that you follow a process like having a pre-production, production, and post-production sort of system in place.
Okay.
Where when we talk about pre-production, uh, I'm talking about the storyboarding uh, and the reviews that you have, and also come up with an animatic version. Uh, what is animatic version? Okay, let me tell you what is animatic version. Uh, Animatic is not the production, you're not stepping into the production of it, but then whatever that you have spoken to the client or your designer within the storyboard, and you have made a storyboard of it, and you have reviewed it. Now we want to see it in composition in sequence, right? This is like a rough draft, right? Very rough draft without or probably very minimal motion in it. Okay,
Right.
so this is you haven't started anything full fledged, but then you're kind of clearing out things for with the whom you want to, with you're collaborating with. So they get to know how the story is flowing. So if there is some, highlights that they require at that point of time, they can even get back to the storyboard and then review it further and then come back. Right? So these are the aspects that you need to worry about in the pre-production phase, right?
Okay.
In the production phase, that is where you land the production only when you are done with the storyboard. You're frozen, and there is no other change as such. You have dealt with it. So it's really suggested. I would suggest spend as much time in the pre-production phase so that you have a very good production timeline, and you have no disturbance and no kind of alterations that are happening in the production. You will actually you can plan it much better,
Sure.
be very much within the predictable timeline. Okay, so when you finish that production, then you go with the first draft and show it to your client. Then you get a review of it. Usually, as I've seen, the iterations are much less in this phase because
Okay.
all the heavy changes that we are thinking, everything has been done in the pre-production. So usually iterations are much less in the productions after the production stage. Then,
Sure.
of course, you give your final render. But in case where you have to go shoot outside and things like that for projects of that sort, you definitely have something called post production, because production is not about just doing things in your computer, but production is over there is very much related to your shoot. right?
Okay.
You need to have a direction, you need to have a cinematographer, you need to have all the lighting set up, you have all your shoot schedule set up, right?
Right.
So that comes into production. Then later you come to the post production, which is the editing part there, right? So there are two different streams. One sort of animation or a video that you do with shooting, and the other is all built up within your system, right? So yeah, these are the stuff that you would I would like to share. But then yeah, brainstorming and collaborating with your designers is very important initially to understand very much. That's the key. That is going to help you visualize in the first phase itself. Before you even land into production, you would want to visualize a lot of things. You will have
Mm.
so many ideas. You need to put it all, and probably you use tools like Figma. You just very good collaboration tool that we use.
Sure.
So that really helps in putting out ideas, and then we refine it further, and then kind of build up the storyboard. So yeah, that's about
Interesting.
it.
So basically, what I understand is there are a couple of things that if you're into motion design, you should worry about. First is the pre-production. That is where you have got a request for a let's say project, and you will kind of find out what is the purpose of this particular project, who is the audience. You will kind of mentally clear yourself like what kind of product is required here, because some audience maybe they may want something simpler, with other audiences may, let's say, a gaming audience or something like that, maybe interested in more complex animations. And so you will have to kind of plan that out in the pre-production. You do a storyboarding where you will kind of put all the pieces, and basically then you are ready for production, which is you have got all the footage and all the data that you are kind of going to put into your softwares and do the production. And then you also mentioned that if you have done a outdoor shooting and all those things, then you also go into post production, because the production happened in the outdoor where we recorded all the videos, footage, shooting, and now you will collect all that data into your softwares and kind of polish them, connect them, integrate them. So there are essentially three parts to this journey. One is pre-production, one is production, and one is post-production. And interesting. So I think you have to be very professional in here and kind of very systematic if you want a good output. And this is where I think you are stressing that kind of divide the phases in such